period of time, I think the expectations became a lot better, a lot higher than I thought, because I didn't expect so many people to be so interested in helping and all that. We met once a month, starting in September, October, November. We met twice, I think, and everybody wanted to be there. And I think that's why the expectations grew over time, because people were really getting involved. I basically sent everybody on the distribution list like 5 emails a day. That's why I wore the bulletproof vest at the reunion, because people were going to kill me. I think they got about 1,000 emails. I'm not even exaggerating, in like 11 months. Every day there was like at least one, if not 10, because I needed to do that, because if you start sending one email and then you lose contact with people, people start losing interest, or they're wondering what's going on. What is this guy doing? So I kept them in the loop every single day, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. So the expectations were more than what I even expected. And I'm hoping that everybody that attended expected less but got more. Because you always hear the horror stories about other reunions. 50 people showed up, half of the people left after an hour. I think most of the people were there at midnight. So I think that alone speaks for itself. So.
It's going to be interesting to see everyone else who I graduated with. Should be fun.
Any wishes for the class right now?
Hope everyone's doing well, and hopefully everyone's not, looks still the same.
Definitely. It's been 10, 12 years for some people I haven't seen, so it's going to be like a flashback. So it's going to be cool. Yeah.
People always go to these reunions to talk about how much money they're making, or how much they're not making, or how much money they wish they were making, what kind of cars they're driving and all that. And I told everybody, even before the reunion and many emails, that this reunion wasn't about that. It was about coming back and remembering those good old times in high school, because there were many, and talking about their families. Some of them have gotten married, have had, some of them have had kids. Others have, unfortunately, had losses in their lives. I think the reunions are more about that than talking about, I'm the president of my own business, which makes no money, I think when a reunion is all about that, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. And, I was running around all night, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to people, but I did talk to everybody as they walked in. So I didn't really know what people were talking about. But, even though I was on the outside, I don't think that a lot of people spent too much time talking about themselves, more about the years, the high school years from 92 to 96, and how, they've developed, family-wise and all that. I could be wrong, but I don't think people were too into themselves. But there's always a few, of course, I'm sure, that probably did hit the topic, and they may have pissed people off, rightfully so. But a reunion is not about that kind of thing. I think it's more about, reliving the past, because I think those people that came enjoy their high school years and enjoy the people they hang around with. So when they found out the people were coming, they wanted to come and relive that time again. And I think that's what the night was all about.
Wishing the best, man. Peace, wishing the best. Nothing I can.
Okay, thank you. Old, very old. But I'm glad to be here. I'm hoping to see everybody that I went to school with. So I'm hoping to have a good time.
All right, thank you very much.
And it don't seem so lonely. We're filled it up with only two. I hurt? Hurting runs up my shoulders. How can I hurt when I am with you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you.
I guess everybody changes in a different way. But I think most of them at the end of the night, after seeing them, haven't changed much. Besides, you know, the women dyeing their hair, you know, having children, and the guys growing a beard, maybe some chest hair. I know that at least my friends, they really haven't changed a lot. Obviously, now they all work, they all have jobs. It's not high school time anymore. But most of them have been hanging around together for the last 10 years. You know, I think people did stick together in their own little cliques. Some obviously went away and they lost a lot of that. And I think this reunion brought them back into that, what they had lost over the last 10 years, which is probably one of the most important things about a reunion, is to bring people back together that have lost contact. Because, you know, you can be friends with all these people that are right here that the camera doesn't see. And then throughout 10 years, you lose contact with them. And then all of a sudden, 10 years, you guys come back and for the next 10 years, keep in touch. I think that happened a lot at our reunion because a lot of people that did move away, or even a lot of people that just lived down the street, didn't realize that, you know, the people were there. So I think we had a lot of those situations where, you know, we have someone in Michigan, a couple people in Florida, and a couple people overseas, and now they're talking to people that they haven't talked to in 10 years.
Sure. Hi. Shout out. Nice to see everyone again. It's been a long time.
I guess to see everybody we all miss.
Hope everybody's doing well. It's a long time. So hoping to see a lot of familiar faces.
Caroline, good times never seem so good. I'm inclined to believe they never would, but now
I think physically, people tend to always change. But to be honest with you, I mean, women always have the excuse, especially if they have children and all that, obviously. But everybody looked very fantastic. I mean, they were all dressed like stars, like I told them to dress like. You know, I don't think there was anyone that wasn't dressed appropriately. They all really looked good. And I'll tell you, with the exception of one or two people, I remembered everybody as they were walking in and was able to call them by their names. Many of them were surprised. Even their guests were surprised that I remember their guests' names. But you know what? After doing this for a whole 11 months and going through their names a million times a day, it just stuck in the head, and I was able to put the name to the face when they walked in. So by me being able to do that, you know, I hadn't seen the majority of the people before that day. You know, just had the high school picture. But for me to be able to remember 99% of those people, that's because most people haven't changed physically. Hopefully, I think a lot of people have grown up and matured, and I think that's even more important. I think a lot of people that, you know, walked around the 4 years in high school thinking that they were the big shots. You know, there's always that group. I think a lot of those people have matured and grown up, and it's great to see that because now they probably lost a lot of friends at that time after we graduated, but I think they've recouped that. And I think that's very important for a lot of people to understand is you can be a certain way in high school. It's not going to help you once you graduate. You're on your own. But, you know, if you're cool with people and you talk to people and you know, don't piss people off all the time and call them bad names, you're not your typical bully, it goes a long way, you know. And I think most of the people that were at the reunion, if not all of them, have matured greatly. And I think that's why there was no problem at all, for the most part, at the reunion. Not that I heard of anyway. And we did ballots, we did votes for certain things, best, Mrs. Reunion, Mr. Reunion, and I probably should share those results with you. They became final today, actually. And one of them was who was the most likely to get their ass kicked at the end of the night. I actually added that one for me because I figured I'd be the one. And I am winning that right now. But you would figure that if there were people that were really, arrogant or just the way they were in high school, they'd be winning that category. But that's not the case. I'm the current winner. So, the physical aspect, people always change. I've gained 30 pounds since high school. Couldn't gain a pound while in it. But the mental part, the maturity part is the most important part.
Great, happy. I can't believe it's been 10 years. Hope we have a good time.
Feel very old.
Any wishes for the class?
I wish they're not as fat as everybody says they are.
Touching hands.
Well, I think before, one of my goals was to get people excited and all into it, and I think I did that by sending them like the 10 emails a day. Most of their mailboxes became unavailable after a week, just because they probably had 100 already. And at the time, most of the emails were just general information, getting people into it, letting them know what was going on. As I did something, I would email them just so they were involved and didn't feel like they were outside. Because I think if you're going to get people's interest, you got to get them involved, whether it's email, talking to them on the phone, or whatever. So, later on in the year, I think when we got into June, since at that time we had a good turnout already, I think we had over 100 people accepting to come, and that was including their guests. We decided to start collecting pictures from back in the day, from the high school years. We even went back to the grammar school years. So what I started to do is I started to scan all the pictures in our yearbook and emailing them to people just so they can start, seeing the good old times. Some people probably lost their yearbooks still in their parents' attic, maybe never got one, or left it behind when they moved. So I think a lot of the pictures in the yearbook brought back memories. And then all of a sudden people started sharing. I was getting like 10 pictures a day, and then it became 20 pictures a day. And some people were mailing me pictures. That's how we ended up with 1,500 pictures at the end of the day. So I think even that, started getting people even more involved. And then people that I had email addresses for that hadn't replied, they started seeing the pictures. They started replying. They got into the whole, wow, I can't wait for this to happen. So I think the whole picture thing really got people involved, I think that's what took us from 100 to 200, knowing that, hey, I was hanging around with all these people. And then, when people accepted the invitation, other people can see it, and then they probably felt more comfortable that, I'll be at the reunion with people that I used to hang with. So I think, that was kind of the before. But I think the after, just when you walked into the hall, the day of the reunion, even without people, it kind of left you like, wow, this looks like a wedding. But and then people started walking in, and people that never were really good friends in high school started talking to each other. So I think overall, it just happens. I mean, it was the pictures, I think, that really drove people to really want to come and to be involved and participate, because most reunions don't go through that trouble to really coordinate everything with everyone and get people involved from the beginning, because I think that's what keeps people's interest, is when you do get them involved, because otherwise it kind of becomes a boring process, especially when it takes a whole year to plan, and you don't speak to people. they don't know what's going on, and they start feeling like, you know, is this thing going to be, you know, crappy? Is it going to be like just like the other reunion stories that I've heard before? But I think none of that happened. So, yeah.
Really fast, you know, feeling a little old, but, you know, feels good. Any wishes for the class? You know, successful next 10 years. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Fun, exciting, just to get to see the people all over again. Thanks.
Touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline. Your times never seem so good.
So I think keeping everything organized was probably the biggest, you know, the biggest task. And you know, and then I always had the supporting cast who always told me, yeah, you should do this, you should do this, and they really helped out. I mean, a lot of the ideas they came up with result in what you saw and everyone else saw that day. It wasn't just me. I don't want people to think it was just me. You know, all the thank yous that I've received after the reunion, I've shared with everyone that's helped me, because it's the team, it's not me. You know, I might have gotten them all together, but they all came up with what needed to be done. And I think up until this day, everyone still talks, and they're all excited about the opportunity to continue helping the school in a different capacity. But to me, it couldn't have been better.
Hi. Nothing much.
Just good luck and keep following your dreams.
You know, and what I think took it over the top was being able to honor, you know, the few classmates of ours that unfortunately couldn't be with us. You know, Humberto Timoteo being one of them. You know, knowing that his wife and his son flew from California the night before. Okay, I don't know if you guys knew this. Flew the day of. They flew out of California that Friday night. They got in Saturday morning, and they were on the plane back to California Sunday morning. They basically came here just to be part of this, and I think that for itself speaks millions of words that don't need to be said. But you know, I think that took it over the top. It was great to do that for the family. You know, the brothers and the sisters that were present. And the greatest thing is I learned that his son